What's up, guys? Happy Thanksgiving. This is a little belated video here. This was from Veterans Day, but crappie fishing generally doesn't change too much once you start getting into that winter pattern until spring, and that's really the favorite time for me to crappie fish, and you catch the most size. Now, this particular video, fish were a little smaller. The schools were like 9 1/4, 9 inch, which I normally don't even mess with, but wanted to have some fresh fish for my kids. But leading into some of these colder months, as the water temperature drops, we're getting ready to have our first really kind of big cold snap and winter weather coming on Saturday, Friday night into Saturday, and that's going to start positioning some of these fish at areas that we really like. Now, in the video, you'll notice I'm on main lake dock with some wind blowing on it. So docks like that have held fish since June, July. I've had schools under these same areas, and I've kind of been catching them through the year, and they've slowly, get a little bit bigger. But I think other parts of the lake, you've got much more sizable fish. So if you get into a school and they're very small, I would pretty much leave that area and go to a new one, because generally they're all bunched up to be about the same size. So I like those isolated main lake docks like I was fishing, because it's harder for those fish to get tucked in where they're inaccessible versus the condo docks. If they are tucked under there, they can be almost impossible to get. So I generally look at those isolated docks first before I go look at any condo docks. But one thing to note about the condo docks are the wave breaks. I like to idle past those a lot, and you can catch really good fish off those, and they're, they can't hide under the wave break really to where you can't get them. So keep that in mind. And also I caught some fish on some brush. Now, when I'm looking for brush this time of the year, there's kind of two places you can look. You can go towards the back of the creeks where it's flatter areas and you're in that 10 to 12 foot range, and find crappie sitting on those around some shad usually. As it gets cooler though, I'm usually looking for that brush that's adjacent to very deep water. So I'm looking, the brush can be only 5 to 10 feet deep, but really close by you're usually going to have 30 foot of water or so, and those fish will start to sit in those areas. And then as it gets colder and we kind of get really into winter, some of those fish will stop relating to the brush and they'll just sit in the guts of these areas, of these creeks, smaller cuts and stuff. They'll just be out in the middle of no man's land. That's probably my favorite way to catch them. But if you find them on brush, like right now, and you've got that deep water nearby, a lot of times they'll just slide off the brush and just suspend out over that deeper water. So great time to crappie fish. It's only going to get better. Last year turned into kind of a poor season because of the shad kill, but hopefully this year we don't have that, and the crappie stay biting really well. So the number one takeaway is find an area, fish it, kind of the things I'm talking about. And then if you're catching a bunch of small ones, move. So the next time I fish for crappie, I will probably go down the lake a little bit and see if I can find some schools that have some more sizable fish. So enjoy, guys. Keep it simple with the baits, just slow retrieve, and happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Hopefully you can enjoy some good food, and maybe even have some fried crappie for the day. So take care, guys.
Few more burn and we'll have enough to clean. They are not big. They're all basically 9 1/4 cookie cutters. I was probably 9 1/2. There's like 2 schools. There's like a small school that's got like some 7 and 8 inches I've thrown back, and then the other side seems to be a little bigger, but it's harder to get over there with the wind. So, I mean, it's literally been every cast for quite a few fish so far. That looks like a little guy there. Be good in a year. Crappie City. Well, there's plenty of crappie to be caught, but these are some small keepers, and then weeding through a lot of other small ones. And the keepers are honestly like as small as you can get. They're 9 inches and they're skinny, but it's a good sign. I mean, I'm literally getting a bite every cast for the last, I don't know, 20 fish. But they're all just about cookie cutters. Hey Bernie, it's about time for us to have to roll out. Yeah, that's enough of you guys. I'm pretty sure you could catch 200 of these things. There we go, come on. There's a little healthier one. Nothing wild, but better. Getting a little closer to the size of the winter fall crappie I like, which are all about 11 inches or bigger. Pretty much just casting out there and counting her down about 10-11 seconds and slow reeling back. It's windy enough that I just spot lock rather than try and live scope. I mean, I kind of know right where to cast at, and it's kind of more fun that way. There's a, that might be a bluegill? No, never mind. He was really chattering for a second. He's just a smaller crappie. Here we go. There feels like one. There he is. Too much fun. Nothing wild today, not a lot of real big ones, but we got a limit swimming around in there. Had to cull through, or not cull, but had to throw back a bunch of little ones essentially as I was catching them to get the limit. But bait of the day was this little guy. White jig head, blue ice, Bobby Garland, little baby swimmer, baby shad, that's what it's called. All right, that ends our crappie palooza. I think I caught like 40 something crappie in like 40 minutes. It was wild, as every single cast. I was not necessarily live scoping them, like watching it and reeling it all through, you know, jazz, what a lot of people do now. I did kind of live scope, or I really side scanned, find the fish, and then I kind of used live scope to set up on them, and then I just hit spot lock, because as you can tell, or probably tell through the video, it's very windy out here. And I didn't want to have to fight the trolling motor, so essentially I'm casting into the school and counting down just 10 seconds with a big bow in my line, and either wait for my line to twitch or wait for it to stop falling when it's not supposed to, or if it reaches the depth after I count down and I still don't have any signs of a bite, I just slow reeled it back and get fish pretty much every single cast. So did have to weed through a lot of shorts, like 8 inches, 8.5, and then I've got a limit, but man, a lot of them are like 9 1/4, 9.5, and I normally don't, like I've said, I normally don't really keep them, but I wanted some crappie to have some fresh dinner and have a little extra on standby for another small dinner for my family. So I figured, what the heck, may as well. There's plenty of them in here. But overall, just main lake. I didn't even go to a condo dock. I actually, when I was bass fishing earlier, I drove by a condo dock that was loaded, and that's actually where I was gonna go, and I never made it there. So I would say condo docks or any kind of isolated docks near the main lake with some wind blowing on them especially, it's a good place to find some of these crappie. come on out. I'm sure if you venture around and go to some other parts of the lake, you find some congregations of fish that are much larger. I just didn't have time. I only had about an hour to try and crappie fish, so I think next time I might try and run up by the gravel area and see if there's any fish there. I will say too, I caught a lot of fish out of a brush pile on a secondary point as well. I kind of moved over. There was a couple that were a little bit better in that brush pile than they were stacked around that dock. But either way, find something that's kind of related to a little bit deeper water for these fish to slide out. It starts getting a little cooler, and then look for that wind blown stuff, and you'll be in good shape. So we'll see you on the next one, guys. Good luck out there, and stay tuned for more.